Hi, we continue our consideration of Ekadesha Sutras, Ekadesha substitutions, which began with Ekaf Purva Parayoho, Ad Gunaha, Vritirechi, Etiratyutsu, Akshad Uhinyam, Upasankyanam, Svadire Rinoho, Pradu Hordo Deshaisheshu, Rute Chatritiya Samase, Pravatsatra Kambalavasana de Sharnana Murne, Upasargat Rti Tatao. Upasargat Rti Tatao. There's a single vritti substituting the preceding and following when an ending upasarga, at upasargat, rti tatao, followed by an beginning dhatu. Beginning dhatu. And so now we have the last of the vritti Ekadesha Sutras. It's almost as though it's a built-in Vartika, because the next sutra, 6192, 77 in Siddhanta Kamadi, is Va Supyapi Shalehe. Va Supyapi Shalehe. So obviously, this comes in reference to the preceding sutra, Atupasargatrati Tatao. Va supyapi shalehe. Va supi api shalehe. Va supi api shalehe. So, va supyapi shalehe. Va supi api shalehe. Now, what is this supi? Well, supi is septimi of soup. And what is soup? You may remember a sutra we considered in a previous section of our studies. Supting antam padam. Supting antam padam. What is a pada? What is a word? Supting antam. It's one that ends with either sup or ting. And as you may remember, sup is the pratyahara for all of the nominal endings, just as ting is for the verbal endings, the dhatus. So sup has the meaning then of subanta, sup subanta, yena vitis tarantasya. So subanta, sup has the sense of subanta. So let's look now at the anuvritti. Ad upasargat rati tatau, ekaf purva parayoho vritihi. Ad upasargat rati tatau, ekaha purva parayoho vritihi. Which reminds me that I don't think I have emphasized adequately at. At is not taparastat kalasya, as you know. It's panchami of a. Panchami of a. And a is not just hrasva a. By arnudit savarnasya cha pratyayaha, a stands for a and a. It doesn't stand for pluta a because, as we know, pluta purgurhyam achinityam. There will be no sandhis involving pluta a. So, at upasargat should be taken as either an a or a ending upasarga, unlike rti, which is taparastakalisya, it is rt, and rt limits it to only hrasva rti, tatau, and r beginning tatu, ekaf purva parayoho vritihi. So let's put it all together. Apishalehe, and we say mate, means apishale is a previous grammarian. We've encountered one or two before, and we will encounter several as we go along. Now, one kind of intriguing thing about this to me is that he says, the sutra says va supishalehi, optionally in the opinion of Apishali. Now, this is meaningful and unusual because, as you may remember, in general, when Panini cites a previous grammarian, it is also saying optionally. It also means optionally. So it's a slightly tarnished compliment, I guess. But this appears to be and is taken to be, the va is taken to be an emphasis to highlight that in this case, Panini is not using Apishali's name to be for two reasons, to say this is optional, because he's saying that separately. So presumably he has high regard for Apishali and Apishali's thinking. So back at the rants, Apishalehe mate, that means in Apishali's opinion, at upasargat urti supi tatao pare purva parayoho ekaha vratihi va. Now we will go into this a little bit more when we do an example, because this is actually far from obvious what is being said. Supi tatao, that means subanta dhatu. Well, what is a subanta dhatu? Dhatus are not subanta, they're tinganta. And so how do we understand this? Well, let's just put the overall meaning together and then we'll get to that. So, supi tatao pare. So when a subanta dhatu follows an or a ending upasarga, a short hrasva beginning subanta dhatu follows a short or long ending upasarga, purva parayoho stane ekaha vratihi va. Ekaha vratihi va. So in the view of Apishali, when a or a ending upasarga is followed by a hrasva beginning subanta dhatu, that's a mouthful. Hrasva beginning subanta dhatu, a single vratihi comes optionally. So let's look at this a little bit more. So there may or may not be a ton of examples for the occasional sutra, but this is the one that comes down, I believe, in Batoji and so on. And Batoji goes to great lengths to stress the and issue of at upasargat. So we have a real old-fashioned soup, or subanta, a soup which is subanta, which is rishapa, which is a bull, rishapa. Then we have a verbal form, rishabhiya, which is to behave like a bull. Behave like a bull. So, this is a hrasva beginning subanta. Hrasva beginning subanta. So the Rishaba part of the verbal form is a hrasva beginning, begins with hrasva and it is a dhatu, rishabhiya, which begins with a subanta form, rishaba. So we have that sort of somewhat unfamiliar category, or short beginning subanta dhatus. Now we have pra. Pra is an at upasarga, and ending upasarga. So if we have pra plus rushabiyati, pra, the short ending upasarga, followed by rushabiyati, which is a hrasva beginning subanta dhatu, then the outcome of this combination has two forms. The first one would be the one governed by atupasargatarti tatau, and a vritti will come in place of both the hrasva, in this case of pra, and the hrasva of rushabiyati. So that would be prarshabiyati. Prarshabiyati, again with the ranraparaha coming in there to retrieve our missing So it would be, at first it would be prashabiyati, and then with the ranraparaha we get prarshabiyati. So that's when everything is going as previously described. The second one is to take the application of atupasargat as optional and not applying it, which would leave it as a guna by ad gunaha, a guna. So we would have prashabhiyati and then prashabhiyati thanks to a ranaraparaha. And without going into all the gruesome details or adorable details, as the case may be, just as in the last sutra, all of this also applies to lur and lul because of anudit savarnasya cha pratyayaha and the complexities of pratyahara. So if we had upa plus urkariyati, upa plus lurkariyati, which would be upa short, it's a short here, but doesn't matter, an ending upasarga followed by a hrasva lur, so that still applies, a hrasva lur beginning subanta dhatu, which are few and far between, especially the ones that start with lur, as far as I know, but I haven't done deep research on it. So if we have upa plus lur kariyati, we have again two possibilities. The one in which at upasargatrti tatau, also simultaneously being lurti tatau, applies. So we would get a vritti substitution of the of upa and the lur of lurkariyati. And that would yield upakariyati. And then by uranuraparaha, which also goes both ways, we would get upalkariyati. Upalkariyati, and otherwise, since it's optional, we would get atgunaha and upalkariyati after uranaraparaha again. So that's all kind of fun. And one thing to remember, a cautionary note, if you have upa and kariyati, a dirga then it's no dice. There is no vritti substitution because that's limited only, as we have pointed out, to hrasva. So if you have upa plus kariyati, you get only the atgunaha substitution upar kariyati. And that's it for the vritti ekadesha sutras, but far from all of the Ekadesha Sutras, as we will discover next time. Bye.